Hello and welcome to Sam's on Wrestling, and this is our round table. It is our discussion-based series, and we are going to look at today in our discussion-based series, is TKO ruining WWE? Now, before we get into this, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. That really help the channel to always push and grow, as we had a little bit of a rubbish June. Come on, let's kick it going.
Yes.
However, why are we here today? Because Baby Sam texted me and requested this time. You know how you get it in wrestling when they go, I have requested this time for some mic time.
Yes.
He literally turned to me and went, Sam, can I have a moan about TKO and WWE? And I went, do you know what? Go for it. I'll be here to fill in any gaps, any blanks from what I might have heard on the grapevine. So Sam, TKO, ruining wrestling, that is what you wanted to talk about. It's what he wanted to have a rant about. You text me admittedly when the R-Truth thing had happened and he's been brought back.
And there's a lot of backlash, including for myself, about that.
But go on, give me some information. Why do you want to talk about TKO and why do you think is potentially TKO ruining WWE? Go for it.
I have some notes. I might not use them. I might just riff and go with what I feel. I want to pretext for either viewers that haven't really listened to my views on kind of current wrestling and looked at more of our past stuff, or if you're new, I, as you will agree, have in the past years, and you know when we've been doing this channel, I've been super positive about current WWE.
That's what we tried to do.
Yes, we are a positive channel.
As much as sometimes it doesn't go that way.
No, exactly. But I'm always I want to enjoy wrestling. I'm not someone who wants to moan about wrestling. I want WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever it is, to all be good. Even if I'm not going to watch all of them, I want wrestling to be good. I don't want to complain.
More fans, better TV, better enjoyment.
This is not something I want to do. I'm not trying to find things to moan about. They've just found me. I think the essence of it is, for me, and I'm sure you share some of these, maybe don't share some of them. For me, it's such a shame because we, at the start of 2025, were looking so good. With the new creative direction, Triple H having control, we were I thought we were entering a new golden era.
2023 and 2024 were the best years WWE have done since the Attitude Era, and I will stand on that. Yeah,
and I was so happy, and slowly but surely, they have managed to take me from being really into the Raw Rumble, really excited for every Raw when it went onto Netflix and SmackDown, being really into it, to being, I am barely watching that much. I am watching partially because of the channel, because I want to obviously be able to talk about this stuff. I do like wrestling. I think the way I can sum up my entire point is, I have a good friend at work actually, who is actually a wrestler on like mini indie circuits in his spare time.
Cool.
It's really cool. We talk about wrestling, and he made a really good point to me. He said, WWE isn't for wrestling fans anymore. It's not. It's for ultimately people on social media. It's for clicks. It's for influencers who will shed loads of money on tickets to pay-per-view events, because let's face it, and I'm not even necessarily criticising this, an influencer who goes to... Elimination Chamber is always the one to me that sticks out, and we'll get to ticket prices, because this is a big thing that's going under the radar for me. An influencer who goes and pays thousands of pounds to go to Elimination Chamber in Toronto and watch John Cena turn heel and kind of go, ooh, isn't this a bit cool, is worth way more to them than me, who is a very passionate wrestling fan, but ultimately bar a live event I went to last year, which was, 40-50 quid?
Something like that.
That's about as much as I'm going to contribute. I don't get much merch. So financially, I understand. And to an extent we don't actually make much of a difference to them.
Yeah.
And
we've spent more money on AEW than we have WWE, and we're not
massive
AEW fans.
And you know why? Because that was affordable. And look, they got money for
30 quid, and Forbidden Door, I paid 33 quid. Admittedly, I'm sitting in the nosebleeds behind a pillar, upside down under a glass of water, but still.
But it's fine.
Watching it on the screen.
Exactly.
I'm actually at home.
Exactly. But we paid for the sofa. Completely. It was free originally. They'll get ideas, Sam. They'll get ideas.
WWE will put a Slim Jim's logo on it.
Oh my god! Well, they love putting it on furniture anyway, which we'll get to. Ultimately, my complaint is at the essence of it. WWE has lost what it was in terms of actually being in its essence trying to be a good TV program. Now it is trying to find as many ways to gain money through adverts and sponsorships as it can. And I get you're a business, but Jesus Christ,
you're a TV show.
You had enough. Yes, you're a TV show first. If you're watching, say, House, or you're watching Game of Thrones or whatever it is, and suddenly you're just getting blatant product placement on like someone's costume and it's there, you would be annoyed at that.
I'll give you an example. Jurassic World. Great film. But if I have to see another Mercedes badge or a Coca-Cola bottle again, I'll scream.
It gives me vibes of Ted Turner with WCW to an extent, because it's now the business side at least is being controlled by people who don't get wrestling. They don't care about it. They don't. It doesn't matter to them. So let me
just throw out something there for this point that might make a difference to you. WWE is making massive profits.
Absolutely. They tell us all the time.
However, Endeavour and TKO are not.
Are they not?
TKO is $3 billion in debt, Sam.
Oh, jeez.
So this might explain to you why they are milking WWE dry. UFC expenditures, outlays, buying WWE and all that lot, and everything else has led to them to be TKO $3 billion in debt. And Endeavour, which obviously is the overall collector, is also in debt. So actually what you're looking at potentially is a squeezing of a profitable business to upend what potentially is what's causing issues financially.
It's exactly like when a sports team is bought by someone and they're using it as an asset and not trying to make the sports team better.
Manchester United!
There we go. It's exactly like that. The problem is at the source of it, the essence of wrestling, it's gone. And this isn't all on TKO.
No,
it's really not.
There is an element of Triple H to an extent.
And also just on producers and matches, but the sponsorships in the middle of the ring are a spit in the face, to be honest, because it's like wrestling is a very unique art form. It's not UFC. It's a stage. It's a theatre. If you put sponsorship logos on a theatre when you're going to the theatre, it takes you out of it. It takes you out of the immersion. The canvas is supposed to be, and this is one of many things, the canvas is supposed to be a blank canvas because the wrestlers are essentially painting an art picture, and it ruins it.
So for me, I'm always counteract or comment on my 2 pence because this is your time.
Yes,
I don't care for the sponsorship on the mat or in the. That doesn't bother me. Quite frankly, I do think it's a good opportunity because
didn't hurt me at first.
All I'm going to say is I've watched enough sport in Britain. I think particularly if you're a British fan, it's everywhere. Like if you watch cricket, the boundary rope is a sponsorship. They have a mat below where the bowlers bowl from, which has got sponsorship. Even the sight screen, which obviously when you're bowling has to be pure white so you can see the red ball. They have 2, one from either side. They bowl from this side and that side, they then swap ends. While they are not bowling from this end, they've got a sponsorship that they then turn. So I don't mind sponsorship on the mat. I actually think it's an easy opportunity. I've watched many sports, boxing and stuff like that have done it. My issue is the 1,000 adverts that happen during the show, particularly in PLE. If you're watching a pay-per-view from, let's say, pre-2019 and onward, especially if you go back in time, our match would finish and what we would have would be an interview segment or a video package or a skit or a through line. That's gone from pay-per-views completely gone, because once a match is finished, and we have a 17-minute entrance as well, let's not forget that, we've then got to have a reel of sponsorships and advertisements and stuff like that. They're the ones that bother me, because I could ignore something in the ring. I don't even care about the Slim Jim on the table. That doesn't bother me. I think after a while we won't even notice. I really don't.
Makes me sad.
Generally, I don't think we'll notice, because there's so many things that have happened. The LED boards, I don't think we notice that much anymore. When we first came out, that bogged me to death. Whatever. You get used to it. I think when it starts disrupting the actual television, such as the video packages and stuff, that's what caused me a problem. I will generally, and I've said this to people in the past, when people go, why don't you do like live TikToks on the wrestling and follow it? 1, it's 1 a.m, but 2, I watched Money in the Bank live. I don't know why I did. Yeah. I think I was not tired, so I watched the first hour and then I just carried on watching.
Weirdly, we were in Wales and actually me and my friend actually watched it live as well. Weirdly, on our phone.
What the hell? What the hell? Well, it's really strange. I mean, you refuse to watch it, and then out of nowhere, completely separate places, we watch it. But my point being is, when people ask me, I don't want to watch it live. I find it almost impossible to watch live. I think it's unwatchable live. In the same way I find AEW unwatchable live because it's just tiring. I feel like I've got to pause and go for a walk. Whereas WWE, I have to watch it the next day so I can fast forward.
Yeah.
And that's now disrupting my show. So
I get it.
That's my thing on the match stuff. But
I'm kind of brilliant because this on its own, if everything else is still good, I could kind of forgive. This is now something that I wasn't really moaning about when it came out. I had the same points as you, but now I've kind of gone, this is a symptom of a wider thing.
Yes, it is.
Because the thing that's really hurt me is the on-screen content we're getting. Sam, it's really bad. Like, I think there's some good stuff going on, but for me, it's very paint by numbers, and we're getting very simplistic storytelling. It's very copy and paste. It's very basic. To me, they're not trying to create like an episode of TV. They're trying to just find a few little clippable moments they can put on social media to get interactions and views. And that's why I'm saying we're not the target audience of this show anymore, Sam.
Yeah,
in my opinion. That way, And at least, again, I am not someone who wants to praise Vince McMahon at all. But I think at least, even though his programming was ridiculous and bad and terrible and all of the expletives, I think he, in his own twisted mind, was still trying to put on a good show for wrestling fans, even though he was an idiot and thought, no, you wrestling fans should like this. Whereas these lot, to me, aren't interested in creating out there stories because I think it's harder for casual viewers to actually get into a complicated story with different layers.
Well, let's be honest, the storytelling really shifted the minute they went to Netflix.
Yes.
It's literally almost immediate. We were having a great time, went on to Netflix, and the Raw on Netflix, we did a review of it. It was our 100th subscriber special, and it was awful. It was a really bad show. And we kind of let it go a little bit, but I'll say this. First of all, I think that from WrestleMania, from the Royal Rumble to WrestleMania, bar Cena's heel turn, just the moment, was terrible. And it just felt TKO involvement. And it felt like Triple H was booking around whatever they were. Like, for example, it was meant to be Solo going for the United States champion. They went, nah, Jacob's the bigger star.
That was my prediction.
And they went, Jacob's the bigger star. And they changed that. That was a change. That was a thing that was... Everything I'm based on rumours. I hate rumours and dirt sheets, but we're doing it in this video for this case. And I think you'll notice that I think WWE has actually been way better the minute WrestleMania finished to now. Now, you actually make a different point. First of all, I think it's been watchable since WrestleMania. I thought it was unwatchable for WrestleMania. It was really bad. I thought WrestleMania was bad as well. I really didn't enjoy WrestleMania. I really didn't. I think you're absolutely right with first of all, SmackDown's 3 hours is too long. It's going to 2 hours in August. Hooray.
I know. How long will it last? But good.
Who knows?
Yes,
but yes,
good.
I think Raw needs to be fast forward quite a lot. But at least for us British fans, we get these little things in between, the little interviews, which are quite nice. But you're absolutely right. It has become very simplistic. When we were doing our predictions, I've been going a bit out there trying to make it a bit interesting. But generally speaking, me and you've got very little wrong. The Royal Rumble, you were 2 out of 4 because you didn't predict Charlotte. I got 3 out of 4. Elimination Chamber, we were 3 out of 4. WrestleMania, we were 12 out of 14. And we would have been 13 out of 14 if we'd have seen what happened backstage with Bayley getting injured. We would have gone, oh, it's Becky. Oh, it's 30. So literally, we were 1 for 1. You didn't believe Charlotte was always going to win, and I went with Bianca because I thought that was the point of the story, and that's the only thing we got wrong. Very predictable, very one note. And for me, what it feels like is the massive moment of the year was Cena's heel turn, and we're going to glide on that for the year. That's what it feels like me. We are gliding on Cena's heel turn. We're just using Cena's numbers to bring the people in. We don't need to do anything crazy around it because I've enjoyed Seth Rollins' thing for the most part. Still hasn't been explained. Let's be honest here. Why is Paul Heyman with Seth? Not really sure. Still don't know. Why is Braun Breaker with them? Still not sure. It would be nice to be explaining. I think Becky and Lyra had a really great feud. I think both tag divisions, Raw's been terrible, SmackDown's been much better. I think there's been some really good things. I think both Money in the Bank winners are correct and will be good. I think the King of the Ring tournament's been good. And again, not clear what they're going to do with that. So I do think it's been much better because it doesn't feel like TKO are involved because it's not WrestleMania season.
Yes.
So I think Triple H is always... I'll just point out, Rock hasn't said much since... Chamber has been on telly once, obviously, but hasn't said much in Twitter and all that jazz. Gone very quiet all of a sudden. Yeah. The rumours are that there's a lot of friction between Rock and other people. I don't think it's as bad as the people think. I think the Rock's just busy doing his own thing now because I think Rock's an element of, you need me. Oh, you don't need me now. Because that's what he said. You didn't need me for the story. It's because you messed up the story. You messed up Cena's heel turn because it was meant to happen at WrestleMania. It would have been a much better moment if he turned. We wouldn't have had Travis Scott. It was terrible. And things like that. But so I think WWE has actually been better. And I think another thing we have to take it is because 2023 and 24 was so good, we were always going to have a drop because
Yes.
it's 52 weeks a year, it's constant storytelling, it's constant coming up with something new, and that's difficult. And you're always going to have peaks and drops. And I think because we've had such a high, and this has been such a drop down, it feels like an even further drop down. And people are going, bring back Vince, and I'm like, compare 2019 to 2025.
No. I am not saying that.
No, but I'm saying that's what people have been saying.
I know.
Compare 2019 to 2025. We're not even in the same ballpark here.
Agreed.
And WWE is very watchable, but the problem is, I think it's easier to watch it not live with a fast forward with Netflix. And I think the move to Netflix hasn't helped. I do think that at the end of the day, it's not working the way they thought it would. A, it hasn't brought as bigger numbers as they thought it would, let's be honest here. But B,
I didn't think it would because I think, well, you're trying to market it to new fans. I'm sorry. Who watches every week a 3-hour episode of a TV show?
Madness.
In today's attention span, no one sits down to do that. I can't believe they thought they'd get insane numbers.
Well, to be fair, I don't think they want to do 2 hours because the minute they went to Netflix, they never went to 3. It's been 2.5 at most. Yeah. They never, and that tells you everything. They can do whatever they want, and they went to. There are some people who want 3. Shut up. I know. Shut up. What's wrong with you? Yeah, absolutely. There are pay-per-views that aren't even 3 now. Woohoo! They need to have more than 5 matches. Night of Champions coming up, or has just been, and you're like, how many championships were defended on Night of Champions? Whatever. But the point I'm making is with the Netflix thing, it was bringing in new fans and all that jazz, which did not work the way they thought it was going to. And then the 3 hours on SmackDown is because the USA Network want 3 hours. They want 3 hours, but they put in. So it's more marketing, more money. USA want it because it's more advertisement for their channel. Yeah. And that's the problem because WWE, it's sadly all about the money. So do you want to talk about ticket prices?
This is the base of my money. Yes, I'll get back to a bit of the content as well, and the audiences.
My anger is more about what's happening around it than what's happening on camera. I can kind of deal with most of the stories on camera because I think it's fine.
That's it.
I don't want fine, but I would rather take fine than bad.
No, I agree. But you know what it is? We're almost like, as wrestling fans, someone who has been abused and is suddenly going, you know what, this is okay, I'll just settle for this because we think that this is okay because of how bad we've had it.
Yeah.
And we've had a glimpse of how good it can be.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'll get to ticket prices and then I'll circle back a little bit to the content because I have feelings in terms of where it's going. So ticket prices is one of the biggest issues I want to pull up here because it actually really sickens me. And it's going very much under the radar because of the news cycle. Things get swept up and go to the next thing.
You also got to remember, dynamic ticket pricing is not just a WWE problem.
No, it's not. It's really not.
It's a huge problem right now. You saw, what was it? Who came with Oasis tickets? Yeah. Went ridiculous because they were really popular and dynamic ticket pricing made them go £1 billion.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
It's really sad to me now that, and again, yes, it's a problem everywhere, but I can moan about it here as a wrestling fan.
Join us on our controversial take.
I don't know if this is controversial, Sam. They are, for the sake of profit, when they're already bragging about the record profits, stripping away the chance for a dad to take his kids to a wrestling show for the first time. Even a live event that I was taken to as a child, they're taking that away from middle working class people. And literally just saying, even for live events, Sam, it's hundreds.
Yeah, a
lot of the time now it's really going up.
I always have a balance with this because I think football in this country, in England, did the exact same thing.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if you can fill the arena at a really high price, wouldn't you not do that? And it's the balance of, do you care about your overall fans or do you care about the bottom line? And it's very difficult to not go against them charging the prices. I have a go more at you people for buying those tickets. Like Clash was in Scotland. Me and Lee looked in, we were really excited, we're going to go, it's down the road in the Grand Forks scheme of us, and then it was like £350. And we were like, that's a deposit, for a flat to rent, potentially. It's your first month's rent. It could be in a small flat or at half your rent if you're with a partner, and you're just like, £350 is all my bills.
Yeah.
I can pretty much cover 300. I can do my electricity, I can do my council tax, I can do my phone, I can do my water,
that's
all for £350.
You think to get how much it costs to get there.
Food and travel, but Clash was sold out.
No, agreed. So again, I think this rant isn't all on TKO. It's about 80% and 20% of it is just on the way WWE is going. In particular, it kind of saddens me. So yes, there's the ticket price problem.
SummerSlam's going to be big. SummerSlam, they've got to do something.
I do want to talk about Jey Uso a little bit. And this is only because I don't... Again, this is going to sound like...
We had a whole video on this.
I'm only going to... And he's only as an example. I'm going to sound like the Punk promo here saying, I don't hate Jey Uso. I don't even dislike him. I like him a hell of a lot more than like a lot of people that are wrestling. I hate this idea that you're the best. No. I think it's really sad what they've done to Jey Uso.
Yeah, look,
I'm using this as a symptom of the overall direction they're going as an example. Jey Uso, personally, I don't think he's a main event guy, despite the nickname. That's my opinion. If he's over, he's over. That's not my issue. Jey Uso is really good at nuanced performances and serious stuff and being able to tell a story convincingly and relay emotion.
One of the most important things of the bloodline.
Yes. He's really good now. You can argue maybe he's better because it was a supporting role. Who knows? But he's got a really good range in him. And he has been devolved into... I know we've had throughout the entire history of wrestling catchphrases and gimmicks.
But you're meant to do stuff around your catchphrase.
Yes. So Stone Cold did not only say what. He did not only do, that's the bottom line, that's all he did.
Brian did just
He has been purposefully relegated to basic, and I mean basic, simplistic. I'm just the guy who comes out with the sunglasses and goes yeet.
Which is fine if he was not the world champion.
Yes.
Like, look at Big E. Big E didn't work as world champion because it still felt like he was the Big E from the New Day. Same principle. This is a worse thing. I thought it was the right decision. We had a video on it at the after the Royal Rumble. We were like, is Jey Uso the guy? And I was on the side of Jey Uso should be going for the world title. And then literally 10 weeks later, I'm on other podcasts. I'm on Ringside Men's, I'm on Wrestling is Awesome, saying it was like a buffet where the first 5 meals were gruel and it was boring and it was awful and it didn't work because they didn't do the things that they needed to do. They had to bring in the better twin to make this twin look better.
Well, this is the problem. So, and again, this is not an anti-Jey Uso rant.
Love Jey Uso.
I like
when he
Jey
gets
Uso.
when he gets to do a real promo, brilliant.
And it's produced.
He also isn't that bad in the ring. Let's get this clear. He's just opposite people like Gunther, who is one of the best ever.
But so I can take Jey Uso and go through numerous amounts of people. They are dumbing down and simplifying characters on purpose because they think that they're basically trying to relate to TikTok audiences who basically want to come sing a song. Wrestling is part rich people just going because they want to sing a bit of a concert.
Because this is the problem.
That's what it is. The singing, I don't mind the singing of themes, but it's going too far because now people only seem to like Seth Rollins because they can go, whoa.
They're not booing him. He's meant to be being booed.
Perfect example of this, Sam. This is when I really started to realise this. So the heel faction's just started off. That's got its problems. That's a whole different
But it is
thing.
still probably one of the best things going.
No, agreed. It was actually on paper, it was quite well booked. They had that Sami Zayn night, where Sami Zayn was basically like, Seth, what are you doing? And Seth was trying to get him traded to SmackDown. Great, I was really into that.
It was really good. It was really good.
Sami Zayn was basically cutting a promo and Seth like saying, what are you doing? Why have you sided with Heyman? Why are you beating people up? Why are you doing all these things? Sami Zayn, by this crowd, who's a really earnest babyface, great wrestler, always been popular with fans, is getting booed because the crowd are literally they're not interested in the segment or the story or the character. All they want to do is go, whoa, and not listen to anything. And I partially blame the breaking of kayfabe, which, I mean, they've lent into it so much that it's really bad. Now, the whole Unreal documentary...
Me and you complained about it in our WrestleMania review.
Because no one buys it anymore. Because they don't actually detest Seth Rollins because they just go, oh no, he's that wrestler that we like, and they don't care about the story.
It's very difficult to be a real heel now.
Because no one cares about the actual story. They're going because we go, oh, we get to see Seth Rollins like you get to see Bruce Springsteen. They're not invested in the story that you're trying to tell them at all. It's the same with Bron Breakker. I think Bron Breakker's amazing.
Main event.
He is now being relegated to just go, ooh, and that's all he is.
Yeah.
That's all he is. He's a performing monkey. I could try and think of more people. They're just boxed into, this person is this noise, this sound, that's it. And we're not going to put anything on top of their character because that would be far too complex for our audience. They're treating us like idiots because they think we're idiots, in my opinion.
The worst thing is you're making such a valid point because I could sit there and go, don't be so rude about these people, but I obviously do a lot of the TikTok videos and sometimes I scroll through the wrestling people to try and find some new people or so to see what other people's views and opinions. The amount of people I saw who just literally did the 4 words, the one word, 4 letters, yeet, as a like voiceover, and that was just that clip. It's just them going 4 letters, 1 word, and that's it.
Yeah,
is ridiculous. So it works. This is the funny thing is,
no,
it works.
This is and again, this isn't all TKO. It's the audience that's now being drawn in. I feel.
Can you blame Triple H for putting Jey Uso in the main event WrestleMania? Because I can't.
I'm not.
And
This isn't my problem. Again, this isn't my problem. I like there being a surprise winner. I like pushing new stars. It's the entire way they've presented him that makes me feel stupid watching the show. It makes me feel embarrassed because, again, we have the PGA where things were dumbed down a bit, but there's such a lack of moral complexity in any of the people or any of the stars.
Well, you say this. Why did Jey lose the world title?
No, exactly.
Why?
But social media backlash, really.
Nope.
Why?
Because they needed to do Gunther versus.
Oh,
Goldberg.
of course, I forgot. Yes, because I realised this. Cause my friend sent it to me on Saturday. I was like, oh, that's why we're doing it.
But remember, they also said there's going to be a mystery man in the King of the Ring tournament, which ended up being Jey Uso. Why did you say it was a mystery person? Because you literally made everyone start speculating. Everyone thought it was going to be Ilya Dragunov on his return. Yeah. Maybe they were going to push Karrion Kross.
Who knows?
Maybe they were going to push Karrion Kross. No, we can't push Karrion Kross. Of course not. No. He's already had backlash and not even booked, which I think is hilarious. Just shows you where we are with X. That's people going, stop talking about Karrion Kross. We're talking about a person who's on telly. But like Jey Uso, they literally had to lose the title because they need to do that. So literally, they could have just said, whoever loses this world title match will be in the King of the Ring tournament. No, they made it a mystery thing, and now you then made people go, that's going to make people hate Jey more.
Yeah.
But at some point, I am expecting, when you go to a wrestling place, such as maybe a Chicago or something like that, that there might be, at some point, an anti-Jey Uso.
I feel bad for Jey.
I do as well, because I think Jey's quality, and I think he's been I think people go, he's a rubbish wrestler. He can do a bad spear. But he's not.
So can Edge.
He's not a rubbish wrestler at all. And the problem is, it takes a long time to learn how to be a singles wrestler from being a tag wrestler. And he's been gone from, he's not had a chance to build it up. Look, Shawn Michaels breaks away from Mighty Jannetty. He builds up over time. Jey had to go straight to the main event, otherwise you're a failure. Because he had to go straight to the main event, which means he had to learn while at the biggest stages. And that's very difficult to do. And I think he's actually done commendable. And I think, and you saw it, we've seen 2 sides of Jey recently. We had the Jey trying to do a promo at Gunther, and everyone was yeeting, and he was like, could you stop yeeting? Because I need to do this promo that I'm actually trying to do. And then, though, a couple of weeks ago, Jey was like, no, and the crowd listened. So he has learnt that command. But I do feel like him still doing that let's do it again thing was really, really fun. That was a lovely, great thing, because it was that felt organic.
Yes.
It's now, do you know what it is? Do you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember Fandangoing? And that was so organic, and then Triple H was, Vince McMahon was like, we must Fandango everywhere. Yeah. Every 5 minutes Fandangoing. I look at WWE right now, and I look at it as 2023 and 2024 was really good, and we've had a drop-off, which was always going to happen. I think we've definitely had TKO involvement in Triple H. I think Triple H is very stubborn on his storytelling. I think Triple H is not coming across well in these post-match
get rid of them.
I don't understand why they're there.
Get rid of them, Sam.
And you know what? They're now part of the storyline, because that's when Cena FU'd R-Truth through the table. And you're like, I wasn't watching because I don't care, but you've now just realised that's where it started.
Oh, Sam, there's a whole other episode of a certain series that I'll get to.
Let's talk about the R-Truth thing, because I think this was actually where your rage came from.
This is where it initially came from.
So, first of all, R-Truth was not fired, and he was not released. Let's make that clear. His contract ran out.
And they told him
not to resign, and same for Carlito. And what made me really, and technically it was also Sarah Logan as well, but what made me really confused about both of those is okay, you're not going to resign them, but they're both still on telly doing something quite important. Could you not have done something to do something? Like Carlito literally said, I had a great time, it's really laid back, he was really praised, Carlito's outspoken, so if he's speaking like that, he probably speaks the truth. Everyone says how lovely Triple H and WWE are backstage. I believe that's still the case. But Carly was like, why couldn't I finish the Judgment Day storyline for myself?
Get written off.
Yeah, why couldn't I have been kicked out? Yeah. And why couldn't R-Truth, his match against John Cena was a, career versus this. And you know what? There might not have been any backlash. But the fact that Triple H is pretending that it was a work. Nope. It's a shoot. You know it's a shoot. And the reason we know it's a shoot is for simple things. First of all, JC Mateo wouldn't have jobbed out R-Truth in 4 minutes if you weren't going to, do this thing. He's come back as Ron Killings. Do you know why he's R-Truth, but he gets to say Ron Killings? Do you know why?
Wow.
But I get to say Ron Killings, when he does leave WWE, that name has now been created so he can use it properly on the indies.
Really?
Very clever.
I get it.
R-Truth knows what he's doing. And I like this R-Truth gimmick, actually. I think it's really, really,
No,
really
I'm
good.
into it.
I'm really... And do you know, it's amazing that a 53-year-old man is suddenly one of the most popular baby faces on the thing. And that's been organic. Will they book it properly? I don't know. But that was so stupid. And this is the thing. Where is WrestleMania 42, Sam?
Vegas.
Las Vegas. We could have gone to the UK. You could have even gone to Saudi if you really want to. Just do something different. And you didn't. You did the worst possible thing, and you went to a place where the crowd were awful because they were all the richest people, and it was a rich crowd. They were silent. We were at a place that felt very sterile. We were at a place we've just been to. Like, I don't mind you if you want to do a Las Vegas kind of place. Come up with an event, and you go to Las Vegas every year because you want to do that. But at Las Vegas is UFC. Las Vegas is TKO. And they love that because they can really strip people of money. And I'm like, that's not what WrestleMania is. And people go, you get to complain. The only people who are not complaining is the people who get to go to it.
Yeah, exactly.
They're the only people. But I'm sorry, me and you are sat there now as people in UK. I'm just going, we ain't getting this.
No.
And you know what? Even if we do get this, it will suddenly feel hollow. I don't know why.
No, and I think this is why I wanted to bring the.
We won't get it next year because AEW are in Wembley, it won't happen.
Well, yeah.
Well, it wasn't going to happen next year anyway. So when people are like, why is it going to go to London? It's like, Wembley's already doing AEW. But
I know, but this is kind of why I wanted to bring the fans up, because again, we referred to it in football and other sports where money comes into it, the prices go up because you can charge them whatever. But in football, for example, or soccer as America, or American football, whatever sport you'd like to use as a metaphor.
Cricket?
Yeah. Do people go cricket?
India do.
Fair.
100,000 people.
If you're watching India, cricket.
There's more people who watch it.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
If you look at the top 10 most watched sports, cricket is like third.
No, I know. But what was I saying? Yes. If in sports, your sports team, suddenly the crowd is worse atmosphere because it's richer people who maybe aren't as hardcore fans, they're going for a day out, the atmosphere is a bit rubbish. Frankly, we've seen it in Premier League.
Man City and Arsenal, I would say too.
Exactly, there's plenty. Liverpool to an extent, my team.
Yeah, Liverpool, definitely. Yeah.
Your football team can still play really well, even regardless of what the fans are doing.
Yeah.
However, in wrestling, this is why I'm getting back to the whole theme of it's a unique industry and an art form. The fans in wrestling are a part of the show. They're a character of the show. They're one of the most important characters of the show. You're taking it's the most important part of the show. It's the biggest character of the show, the audience, and you're stripping it of any real. And again, European crowds can be an exception, but they're ripped off to hell.
Oh my god, we can't go.
Ripped off, no, exactly. You're stripping basically the essence of it. When you're stripping away the atmosphere of the crowd and how enthusiastic they are, you're giving the wrestlers less, you're giving the TV fans less, you're just souring the entire art form by basically giving us rubbish crowds who are there to treat the wrestlers as emotes. Oh, Bron Breakker, let's do ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's do our sounds that we want to do. They don't care about the storyline, most of them. I'm generalising, but you know what? Screw it, I'm going to generalise. They don't really care about the stories that they're being shown because they're there for their rich day out and they can go with their friends and put it on, oh, look, I'm seeing this wrestler, I show speed, just got speared, oh my goodness. That's what they're there for.
Which I'll be doing at Forbidden Door.
They're like, oh, mate, that's what they're there for. They're not there for Sami Zayn's story. They're not there for Chad Gable, whatever. They're not invested in these characters. They treat them as emojis, and that's how WWE are booking them. Bron Breakker does the ooh, ooh, ooh. Seth Rollins does the whoa. Jey Uso does the yeet. That's their characters.
They're still cheering Cena.
No, exactly. Because Sam, they don't buy the story of him turning heel. Because no one buys the kayfabe anymore, because you're creating a documentary where you're going to show us the writing anyway, so what's the point anymore? That's what it really comes down to me. Yeah. They are trivialising characters so much that it just reminds me of, it's like the targeting, it's stereotypical, but like brain rot. It's basically becoming brain rot, Sam. There's a lack of complexity in the stories.
They have to be careful with this Netflix deal, they really do, because Netflix was meant to bring people in, and loads of people watched that first Raw, and I thought they failed, because if you were watching that, you wouldn't carry on watching. It wasn't very good. It was lots and lots of adverts. It was lots of things that didn't make sense. And then they kind of didn't... The second Raw was way better than the first. And I think they just need to be careful that a lot of these things that are happening on Raw and SmackDown don't seem to have any significance right now. And the amount of people who just seem to be gaining title shots just by asking rather than winning something or winning a number one contenders. You've got champions who are just not being used. Now, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of a champion becoming a rare thing. You go, oh, the champion gets to wrestle. Io Sky hasn't defended a title. Like,
wrestling, the thing that she's best at, so you'd surely have her do wrestling.
She's wrestled like 3 matches or something ridiculous. You're like, why are you not doing that? And then Gunther, Jey Uso was barely doing anything and stuff like that. And it is an issue. Me personally, here's how I see it. I'm sick of the advertising and the sponsorship. I'm sick of what is clearly involvement from somewhere else. I'm sick of hearing negativity from outside, because WWE had such a lovely positive vibe, and then these releases that they've done just feel wrong, and it's the way they went about it. If it was their normal releases, that's fine. They're going to do releases every year. I actually am a big fan of releases, because it means that these people who aren't being used get to go somewhere potentially, because right now is a better time to go out into the industry, because there are places you can go.
Absolutely, that's great.
Yeah, TNA is suddenly strong, even if it's connected to WWE. By the way, WWE aren't buying TNA. It is a place they can send people who aren't on the books to go get more seasoning without paying them, because that's all it is. This is why loads of people get released, because they're paying them big money. Like Braun Strowman, I was like, why was Braun Strowman released? Because his knees are knackered, his neck is knackered, and they're paying him £1 million a year. Of course he's going to get released. It makes sense. But it was the way they went about the R-Truth and the Carlito one was wrong, because it was a non-re-signing one, and they didn't do anything with it. And it felt like, it's almost like they went up to Triple H and went, you see these 10 names? You can keep 5. Which 5 are you keeping? That's what it feels to me. People go, oh, Triple H gets the final say. I think he does get the final say. But after he is presented with what he can decide on. And that's what I think. Because everyone goes, Triple H is running WWE. No, he's not. He is running creative. He is not running WWE. And I think people have to remember that. I'm going to be on the side of Triple H. And I'm not a massive fan of Triple H. But I'm going to be on the side of Triple H until I'm pretty much shown or told otherwise. I blame, quite frankly, TKO, The Rock, sponsorship, and this Netflix deal for a lot of things. But I'm positive for the summer. I think it's actually been quite good. This King of the Ring. Money in the Bank, I think the correct 2 winners. Everyone was negative, and I'm more negative. No, I think you're being negative because it's been negative. LA Knight suddenly is in a featured position straight away. He's fine.
I agree. It's more a problem of obviousness and predictability. Yeah. But I think Seth winning it.
Seth is the correct decision, and so was Naomi. So I'm looking forward to. I'm hoping that SummerSlam is good. They've got to really pull something off, and I think WWE might be better in 2026 once Cena has finished.
Is that your version of saying it would be better once Vince McMahon's dead?
Yeah.
Once Cena's finished.
Yeah, I think when Cena is gone, I do think it'd be better, because I think we won't then have to rely on this to bring people in.
I hope so, and I hope it evens out, and I almost hope there's a little bit of a backlash and a bit of ill will for a while, and then they pivot, because I think they've shown they'll pivot when there's a bit of backlash, but I think people aren't really where I am, which is fine. This is only my opinion.
Yeah.
I worry about the direction they're slowly taking it towards, and I don't want it. I think it's like here. I don't want it to get all the way down there. I want it to kind of correct course.
The fact that I can't watch it live is already showing a problem.
Yeah.
But what do you think? We've gone with, is TKO and WWE? Is Triple H? Where do you think? Do you think WWE's been fine? What's your viewpoint? This is Sam wanted to get a little bit off his chest because he's been a very grumpy little boy, and he's allowed to be. Good. I'm glad you have got some catharsis. Thank you very much for joining us. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And what do you feel at the current state of affair with WWE, particularly over the course of the last year, 6 months or so? Thank you very much for joining, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.